a remarkable scientific discovery has been made in China. Researchers say they found the skull of what they believe is a new species of human, which could be our closest evolutionary relative.
What happens when scientists stumble upon a hidden human species living underground? Well, you get shocked researchers as they uncover a discovery that defies all expectations. So, from jaw-dropping excavations to theories that challenge everything we know, I'm going to reveal the most astounding findings about this hidden society and what it means for the future of humanity. 1. The Harbin Skull.
You can only imagine the shock of the archaeologists. All of a sudden, these horrifyingly deformed skulls emerge from the ground.
The Dragon Man skull, snagged from Harbin, China, has thrown scientists for a loop since the 1930s. Fast forward to 2018, it lands in a museum, and bam, it's a showstopper with its freaky mix of ancient and modern human mug features. We're talking about a skull that's been chilling for at least 146,000 years, back to when the Middle Pleistocene was all the rage. It's got a brain size that matches ours today, but packs a primitive punch with a beefy brow ridge, monster teeth, and a nose hole you could lose a small apple in. Enter Homo longi, the new kid on the evolutionary block, maybe even closer to us than those Neanderthal cousins. This skull wasn't just surviving Harbin's brutal winters, but thriving. Now, scientists are all over this, using fancy CT scans and geochemical tricks to figure out where this massive-headed mystery fits in our family tree. Is it redefining our roots? Looks like it. 2. Homo naledi.
It's pitch black, and some of the passageways are so narrow that it's very difficult for a person to even fit through. This is not recommended for those who are claustrophobic or afraid of the dark.
In 2013, scientists stumbled upon a real head-scratcher with Homo naledi, tucked away in South Africa's Rising Star cave system. Our ancient cousin was holed up in the Dinaledi chamber, about 30 meters underground, a place so hidden it's a wonder anyone found them. Led by the sharp-eyed Lee Berger, the team dug up over 1,500 fossil fragments from at least 15 individuals, making it a goldmine of hominin history. But these old bones weren't just scattered around. Nope, they were neatly placed in a pitch-black chamber, suggesting these early humans might have been up to some complex burial business, despite packing a brain only 1/3 the size of ours. 3. Homo floresiensis. The Hobbit, officially dubbed Homo floresiensis because of its pint-sized frame, turned heads big time when it popped up out of nowhere underground. In 2003, this tiny human cousin was unearthed in Liangbua Cave on Flores Island, Indonesia. And guess what? These little guys were hanging around from 50,000 to 100,000 years back, way more recent than anyone guessed. Led by the archaeologist Mike Morwood and his Indo-Australian crew, they stumbled upon LB1, a nearly full skeleton of a female hobbit standing just about 3.5 feet tall, with a noggin the size of a chimp's. But don't let that small brain fool you. These little giants crafted tools, hunted critters, and probably even played with fire, showing off some great survival skills. Now the real head-scratcher, how did these mini marvels end up on such an isolated spot? And what ancient hominin line did they come from? More digs around 74 kilometers away in Mata Menga turned up even older bones, dating back a whopping 700,000 years, proving these small folks had the island vibe going strong for ages. 4. Denisovans. Can you believe these Denisovans? They're like the ultimate underground crew, hiding out in the Denisova Cave in Siberia's Altai Mountains. First spotted by Michael Shunkov's team in 2008, they've turned up a juvenile girl's finger bone that shook up the whole human family tree. Totally not Neanderthals or us modern humans. In 2019, researchers hit another jackpot in the Baishia Karst cave on the Tibetan plateau, finding these ancient rebels chilling at a whopping 10,000 feet, some 160,000 years ago. That's way before any of us Homo sapiens dared to brave those heights. They found a jawbone up there that's all Denisovan, proving these old-school survivors were the real deal, hunting and tool-making in one of the toughest spots around. 5. Homo erectus. Homo erectus was a total game-changer in the ancient human league. Discovered by Eugène Dubois back in the late 1800s on the Indonesian island of Java, these guys roamed the earth from about 2 million to 100,000 years ago. They were the first of our ancestors to strut around with modern human-like swag. Think longer legs and shorter arms. And they didn't just stick around Africa. Nope, they spread their wings all the way from the Iberian Peninsula to Southeast Asia. Homo erectus might have been the OG cave dwellers. Fossils found in the Zhoukoudian caves near Beijing, dating back to around 750,000 years ago, show they weren't just crashing there temporarily. They had stone tools, animal bones, and even charred remains, suggesting they were lighting fires to keep cozy. 6. The Dali Skull. Tucked away in Shanxi Province, China, sits the baffling Dali Skull, a real brain twister for scientists since its discovery in 1978. This ancient headpiece, dating back a cool 200,000 years, messes with our heads with its wild mix of Homo erectus vibes and early Homo sapiens features, making it a tough nut to crack in terms of classification. The Dali skull packs a robust build, thick brow ridges, and a receding forehead, classic Homo erectus style. But then it throws a curveball with a cranial capacity of about 1,120 cubic centimeters, sitting right between the old-school Homo erectus and us modern folks, hinting at brains more our speed. And the face? Less protruding, flatter, more like what you'd see in the mirror. Folks like Xinji Wu reckon this skull might just be our ticket to understanding human evolution in East Asia, maybe marking a local twist on Homo heidelbergensis, or even its own species, dubbed Homo sapiens daliensis. Stashed at the Institute of Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology in Beijing, this cranium keeps sparking debates and shredding the old out-of-Africa theory to bits. 7. Neanderthals, Homo neanderthalensis. Neanderthals were rocking the underground scene way before it was cool. We're talking about Homo neanderthalensis, those brainy party animals from 400,000 to 40,000 years ago. These guys weren't just hanging out in caves to dodge bad weather and scary beasts. They turned these spots into full-blown homes, showing off some serious smarts and style. Take the Riparo Bombrini in Italy, where Neanderthals had different cave corners for napping, cooking up a storm, and chiseling away at tools. It's like they knew a thing or two about interior design, way before it was a thing. They even had burial spots with flowers in the caves, proving they weren't just about survival, but had a soft side for their loved ones. Digging into their bones, especially from places like Vindija Cave in Croatia and those mysterious caves in Russia, shows these old-school humans mixed it up with our Homo sapiens ancestors, leaving a pinch of their DNA in modern folks outside Africa. 8. Homo luzonensis. Homo luzonensis is this wild ancient human species that popped up out of nowhere, or, well, from deep underground in Calao Cave on Luzon Island, Philippines. Discovered by Arman Mijares and his team in 2007, these folks dug up 13 bones, including teeth and foot bones dating back a whopping 67,000 years. What's even more bonkers, these little guys were only about 4 feet tall, and somehow ended up on an island that wasn't even hitched to the mainland by land bridges. So, did they paddle their way over? The mystery deepens. Their bones are a bizarre cocktail of the old and new. The teeth could blend into a modern-day crowd, but those curved fingers and toes scream Australopithecus vibes, a really ancient human ancestor. This mashup hints that Homo luzonensis might have been doing their own evolutionary thing, totally isolated. 9. Homo antecessor. Way back in 1994, in the dark depths of Grandolina Cave in Spain, scientists stumbled upon Homo antecessor, a real puzzle piece in the human history saga. About 800,000 years ago, these guys had been living it up underground, mixing old school and modern vibes like pros. They had tools and hunted, and their crib in the Sierra de Atapuerca wasn't merely a crash pad. It was the hotspot of ancient culture. Their faces were a wild mashup of what we'd see in the mirror and the rough features of Neanderthals. This sparked a fiery debate among the brainiacs. Were these Homo antecessor folks our direct ancestors, or just another branch on the family tree that didn't make the cut? They were first named in 1997, but had been ghosting around Europe way longer than most. 10. Homo sapiens idaltu. In 1997, Tim White and his crew stumbled upon some seriously ancient human relics in Ethiopia's Afar Triangle, right in a spot called Herto Buri. We're talking about Homo sapiens idaltu, a long-lost cousin of ours dating back a whopping 160,000 years. These guys are some of the oldest modern humans we've ever seen. So, they found these skulls, 2 grown-ups and 1 kiddo buried deep underground, all thanks to the area's volcanic activity, which has kept them snug and intact. It's like nature played its part in a high-stakes game of preservation. The skulls are a mix of old school and modern vibes, robust yet distinct from the usual Homo sapiens mug we know. Scientists are scratching their heads, wondering if these are our direct ancestors or just a side branch on our family tree that didn't quite make it. And yes, the plot thickens with these underground findings, pushing the envelope on what we thought we knew about our early wanderings out of Africa. 11. Homo sapiens, early modern humans. Our ancestors, the Homo sapiens, were up to some wild stuff underground way back when. As far back as 300,000 years ago, these early humans were not just chilling, but actually thriving in caves and other low-key spots. It's like they had their own underground cities. Take the Jebel Irhoud cave in Morocco, where they dug up some of the oldest Homo sapiens bones ever found. These bones are about 300,000 years old. And get this, these caves weren't just crash pads, they were like full-on social clubs, maybe even ritual hotspots. In South Africa's Blombos Cave, they found some real ancient artsy stuff, engraved ochre and shell beads from about 75,000 years ago. 12. Homo rhodesiensis. Homo rhodesiensis is a real mystery that popped up in 1921 when they dug up this skull called Kabwe 1, or the Broken Hill Skull, right in a lead and zinc mine in what's now Kabwe, Zambia. This skull has a whopping cranial capacity of about 1,230 cubic centimeters, big old brow ridges, and a sloped forehead. And it's got scientists scratching their heads because it looks a lot like Homo heidelbergensis. Now, these ancient folks might have been ducking into caves or something because this skull and other bits were found way down in the mine. These Homo rhodesiensis characters were around from about 300,000 to 125,000 years ago, bridging the gap between Homo erectus and the new kids on the block, like us and the Neanderthals. 13. Homo georgicus. Homo georgicus, those ancient party crashers, showed up in the weirdest spot, beneath a medieval town in Georgia. Discovered at the Dmanisi site, these early humans from around 1.8 million years ago were some of the first to strut out of Africa and throw down in the southern Caucasus. These guys were living it up underground. Imagine finding that out while digging for medieval knickknacks. This crew, led by the sharp-eyed Georgian archaeologist David Lord Kipanidze back in '91, hit the jackpot with skulls, mandibles, and loads of stone tools. What's really got the scientists scratching their heads? Homo georgicus was rocking a small brain, around 600 cubic centimeters, but don't let size fool you. They were tool-slinging geniuses with possibly some superb social skills. Just goes to show that sometimes the wildest things come in the most unexpected packages. 14. Homo erectus pekinensis, Peking man. Peking man, or Homo erectus pekinensis, kicked off his legendary status in the early 20th century when explorers stumbled upon his digs in the Zhukotian caves, just about 50 kilometers southwest of Beijing. Think about it. These caves became the hotspot for unearthing the secrets of human evolution. In 1929, a cool cat named Pei Wenzhong, a Chinese paleontologist, hit the jackpot and found the first Peking man fossil. Over the years, they've pulled out all sorts of goodies from there. Skulls, jawbones, and teeth, all dating back around 700,000 to 300,000 years ago. And here's the kicker. These early humans were masters of their domain. With stone tools, leftover dinner bones, and even evidence of fire, it's clear these guys knew a thing or two about survival. Why go subterranean? Maybe for protection, maybe for some mystical mojo, who knows? But one thing's for sure, Peking man's cave life is still one of the juiciest mysteries out there. 15. Homo rudolfensis. Check out Homo rudolfensis. Seriously, it's like the Indiana Jones of early humans. Back in '72, scientists stumbled upon these old bones deep beneath the surface at Kubi Fora, near Lake Turkana, formerly Lake Rudolph, in Kenya. These fossils, especially the star of the show, the K&M ER 1470 skull, are a wild mix of old school and advanced features that throw everyone for a loop. They think these guys roamed around about 1.9 to 2.4 million years ago. But why on earth were they chilling so deep underground? Was it natural? Or were they onto something, like using caves for kicks or some spooky rituals? With a brain size of around 750–800 cubic centimeters, these guys were not messing around. They had big brains, flat faces, and massive molars, a real puzzle for the boffins trying to piece together our evolutionary family tree. 16. Homo habilis. Homo habilis folks were making their homes in caves around East Africa about 2.3 to 1.65 million years ago. Lewis and Mary Leakey stumbled upon their fossils in 1960 in Tanzania's Olduvai Gorge, blowing the lid off what we knew about these early humans. Homo habilis wasn't just ducking into caves to avoid a rainstorm. No, these clever early humans were using these spots regularly, likely to dodge predators and the harsh elements. And they weren't slacking off in there either. They were busy chipping away at stone tools and chowing down on whatever critters they could get their hands on. The real kicker? Olduvai Gorge itself has turned up a trove of these findings, showing these early humans were not just surviving, but thriving, using every trick in the book to make the most of their surroundings. 17. Homo ergaster. The Homo ergaster crew was running around 1.9 to 1.4 million years ago, with body vibes strikingly like ours today. Long legs, short arms, perfect for marathons across the savannas, right? But here's where it gets juicy. These early humans might have been the original underground trendsetters. Cut to Kubi Fora in Kenya, where the big discoveries went down. Fossils were found next to what could have been ancient shelters, caves or rock overhangs where these people could dodge predators and harsh weather. Then there's the Turkana boy, a fossil so well preserved, it's almost like he's about to tell us all his ancient secrets. Found in 1984 near Lake Turkana, this lad gives us the real scoop on Homo ergaster's possible crib styles, though it's all still a bit of a head-scratcher for the boffins trying to piece together their cave-dwelling antics and social shenanigans. 18. Australopithecus afarensis. The Australopithecus afarensis is like the unruly ancestor of modern humans, not quite making it to the Homo genus, but close enough. These tiny beings roamed around East Africa, Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Kenya, some 3.7 to 3 million years ago. These little guys, dubbed afarensis, were vegetarians chilling both in trees and on the ground. The most famous of them, Lucy, that skeleton found in 1974, was named cheekily after the Beatles' hit Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. These afarensis were not much to look at, with heights ranging from a puny 3 feet, 2 inches to a not-so-towering 5 feet, 5 inches, and weighing in anywhere between 55 to 141 pounds. Males were noticeably bulkier than the females. And brains? Small potatoes, up to 550 cubic centimeters of gray matter, a far cry from the modern human's 1,274 and 1,131 cubic centimeters for guys and girls, respectively. 19. Homo gortongensis. The Homo gortongensis crew really knew how to rock the underground scene. Discovered chilling in South Africa's famous caves like Sterkfontein and Swartkrans, these early humans might have been the original cave dwellers. Named by the sharp-eyed anthropologist Darren Kernow in 2010, this species, dating back a cool 1.8 to 2 million years ago, has scientists scratching their heads. Why? Because these old-timers might have been using caves not just to crash from harsh weather or dodge predators, but maybe even for some ancient social club vibes. With just a few skull bits, teeth, and jaw bones found, there's a ton we don't know yet. But one thing's for sure. Homo gortongensis had something sneaky up their sleeve with those caves. 20. Homo tsaichangensis. Some folks dredged up an ancient jawbone, Penghu 1, right off Taiwan's seafloor in 2008. This old-timer's dated somewhere between 10,000 and 190,000 years. Now it's sparking major head-scratching among the experts about where exactly it fits on the human family tree. Paleontologist Mark McMenamin's all fired up, claiming its wacky teeth mean we've got a whole new species on our hands, Homo tsaichangensis. The jaw's built like a tank, totally different from our other ancient cousins, hinting these guys might have been underground dwellers over in what's now Taiwan. The plot thickens with Chinese scholars Xinji Wu and Haowen Tong peeking in, hinting it could be some old-school Homo sapiens. Still, the jury's out unless they dig up more clues. 21. Homo sepranensis. In 1994, while some guys were tearing up the ground for a road near Soprano, Italy, they hit the jackpot with a skullcap. That's all we've got from this elusive guy, earning him the name Soprano Man. Fast forward about 450,000 years back, and this skull shows a mix-up of traits between Homo erectus and Homo heidelbergensis. But this dude might have been a real-life mole man, living it up underground to dodge predators or nasty weather. Thicker skulls and tough features, that's what survival looked like back then. Now, fast forward to today, and you've got hot debates in the Smithsonian and every anthropology circle buzzing about where exactly this underground player fits on the family tree. With only one skull to go by, pinning him down in the evolution saga remains one tough puzzle. 22. Homo heidelbergensis. Homo heidelbergensis was one sneaky ancestor lurking around from about 700,000 to 200,000 years ago. These guys were the real deal, setting up shop deep underground and leaving us scratching our heads over their cave-dwelling ways. In 1907, near Heidelberg, Germany, these fossils popped up all over Africa and Europe, even in some seriously deep caves. Take the Cima de los Huesos in Spain. This pit of bones was like a VIP club, but 30 meters underground and packed with the remains of at least 28 of these ancient heavyweights. Researchers think these early humans might have been dropping their dead off here on purpose, maybe as some sort of creepy ritual or early funeral vibe. 23. The Red Deer Cave People. 24. Homo soloensis. Solo Man, the Homo soloensis, was discovered near the Solo River in Java, Indonesia, back in the 1930s. This ancient figure dates to around 117,000 to 108,000 years ago. We're talking about 14 skullcaps and a couple of tibiae here, showcasing a fascinating mix of archaic and modern traits. Now, there's a compelling theory that these individuals might have been underground dwellers. Nestled in river terraces, Solo Man might have dodged extreme climates or volcanic activity by going subterranean. Those thick skulls and pronounced brow ridges, perfect for enduring harsh conditions underground. 25. The Cro-Magnons. The Cro-Magnons were the original underground dwellers way back in Europe, living between 40,000 and 10,000 years ago. Found in 1868 in a cave near Les Aisies, France, these early Homo sapiens left behind remains that blew everyone's mind. Buried deep in a rock shelter with tools and artifacts, they showed off some serious survival and cultural skills. These folks didn't just live in caves, they turned them into art galleries with stunning paintings and carvings like those at Lascaux. And get this, they buried their dead with red ochre and shell ornaments, hinting at early religious beliefs. These Cro-Magnons were thriving with style and sophistication, way ahead of their time. Share your opinions in the comments. I'm eager to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating discoveries and updates.